Well done, Boobang, and welcome to yet another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. Now, today I will be talking about what it means to be consistent on your purpose and journey destiny. Now, I believe this is a very important topic because for many of us, it will help to determine, who is willing to live their purpose for a long time and who might just give up along the way. So here's why. Your purpose, it's not an easy road for some of us. It hasn't been an easy road for me. And so I'm here to tell you that maybe you're even struggling with walking on your path because of many things like a lack of faith, unbelief, or even doubting the goodness of God in your particular life. Now, don't get me wrong that I myself haven't struggled with doubt, unbelief, and even fear of stepping into what God is calling me to. In fact, it has taken me 6 years to get in alignment and to also get myself, and my willpower to get it over with and to finally commit to doing what God has called me to do. So I do understand completely that you might be struggling with yourselves. And you know what? It's quite okay. And you will overcome and you'll get through with what God is calling you to do as long as you stay committed to doing what He is calling you to do and the plans and purposes that He has over your life. But I'm here today to teach you how to remain faithful and even when things don't look promising or it hasn't happened for you yet, like you're not seeing this plan that God has over your life. Remember, your journey, it's not a quick process, but it takes time to become and to be who God is calling you to be. Also, don't ever look on anyone else's journey while you're going through yours, or if you're seeing them being successful either in their walk as well, or because I will tell you that most times it's not the case. Many of us as Christians who are truly called to ministry or most times they will testify, of the long journeys of everything even going upside down in the beginning and having to faithfully stick with God and to believe Him and understand what He in particular is calling them to do. So God still faithfully have brought them through to their promised land, and of which most of them you might be seeing now that they're enjoying that. They're enjoying the fruit of the labor and the work that they put in initially to stay dedicated, stay focused, and stay committed to what God is calling them to do. So what exactly does God mean by being consistent with your walk and journey with Him in everything? What does that look like? What does He mean? Now, let's get some perspective here, first and foremost. Being consistent with your journey of purpose, it means walking consistently on the path that God has planned for you. God has paved for you this path, this way, this road that you should take and that you will travel on a regular basis. In other words, stay on the journey, stay on the path, keep doing what He's calling you to do, and don't ever give up. Even if you don't see anything up front, even if you don't see what you thought you had planned to do when you started that business, if the fruit is not there yet, if you're not seeing income or anything like that, don't give up too easily. Just stay committed, stay focused, and stay on the journey that God is calling you to do. Now, if you know deep down in your heart that you have felt for a long time that you need to get something done or accomplished, or that God is calling you to do, and it has been nagging you, like for me, it has been nagging you for years, and you have finally yourself committed to going on a journey and doing what God is calling you to do. You finally committed to be dedicated and consistently walk on the journey that God is calling you to do. So here's an example of my own life. I like to use things that I've been through to just kind of motivate you and encourage you to also look at your life and to stay focused and committed on what God is calling you to do. So I'm a blogger. I don't know if many of you know, I also blog. If you haven't read in my books or anything or seen links, that I do have a blogging website. But I love writing. That's my gift. I love writing. And therefore, one of the gifts that God has given me of writing is to actually do a blog. And I started a parenting blog as a way of kind of helping women through every stage of motherhood, from planning to conceive and beyond that. So my blog was started around 3 years ago, and I have created a website where I post content in blog posts for women to actually, they can use to relate to any area of their life that they're dealing with or struggling or trying to overcome in motherhood. Now, I have honestly, I'll get to I've been a yo-yo with that blog. I would say I started the blog, started off fully, was committed and dedicated to seeing it come to pass. And then I fell off. I really fell off the scale for a moment. And this is why. Because as humans, when we don't see success right away in anything that we do, we begin to doubt the promises that God has over our life. And we start to complain a lot and grumble about the time, or even sometimes it just starts to get mundane, doing the same things over and over repeatedly. So for me, I fell off because I didn't see the fruit of what I was doing right away. And so I started doubting God. And that's the thing, when God gives you something or gives you a plan, a purpose, a mission, a vision, that you too will sometimes fall in this doubt that you don't know if you know he's going to be faithful with you, or he may leave you hanging throughout the process. But no, even though you don't see anything up front in the beginning, always just stay the course, be committed, be dedicated to that purpose that he's given you, and just understand that whatever he calls you to, even though it delays, he will bring you through to it. So now this is the difference between persons that say, that kind of stay on the course no matter what is happening with their plans, and also the ones who give up right away because they don't see anything, or they see things as it being a failure before they even invest enough time, effort, and energy into the very thing that God is, calling them to do. So when you don't see fruit or the reward of your diligent work into something that God has called you to do, I like to say we go into panic mode or fear mode or doubt mode, or sometimes we eventually pull away from the very thing that God is calling us to do. For instance, we may go back to the same workplace scenario when God is like telling us to leave to start that business opportunity that he's had on your heart for years. Knowing that he may have been calling you in particular to be an entrepreneur. We may also stop working on the books he's called us to write, the blog, ministry, or anything that we know that God has placed on our hearts to get accomplished. So let's reverse back again to my blogging story. I've probably quit several times already for whatever reasons I could find to get myself away from actually getting it done. But I'm now at the stage where, after having fought so long with just staying the course, that is, the course is worth going on with God. So now that I've said I'm going to stay committed to it, I'm going to stay the course, I'm going to keep blogging and writing, I want to see this vision come to pass, even when you don't see fruit. So I have decided to do that I'm not going to give up this time. I'm going to stay focused, stay committed, and just continue to blog, even if I don't see anything in the beginning. And I'm going to just fight off all the doubt, fight off all the unbelief, and keep doing what God is calling me to do. So this is the Bible verse that I myself like to remind myself often about. When God gave the vision to Habakkuk, according to Habakkuk 2 verse 3, For the vision is yet for its appointed time, right? It testifies about the end, and it will come. It will not lie. Though it delays, wait for it. It will certainly come, and it will not be late. This is a passage of scripture that I believe we need to cling on to, the same as how we cling on to food or even TV shows. I'm guilty of just saying that. But God is faithful. He's faithful to carry the promise that He has written over our lives to pass. He's faithful. So even though it may take a while to get there, stay committed, stay focused, and consistently keep doing what God is calling you to do. And be faithful. Be faithful in obedience to the plans and purposes God has over your life. So after having played with God for a long time with this blog and having felt for some times in the past, I have stayed committed. I've stayed committed now to continuing on with my blogging journey, no matter what. I am also more committed to helping women who are struggling with areas of motherhood that I myself have struggled with and I myself have even overcome. So even though I initially didn't understand the reasons what I was doing and what God has called me to do, I now know that this is something beyond my understanding and that my message for women has now been sent to thousands of women through just one inspirational message or one blog post that I've written about something that I personally was struggling with for some time. So now I am more encouraged to keep doing what God is called me to do, knowing that it is actually producing the fruit now that was just a tiny seed that was planted in my heart years ago. So I encourage each and every one of you who is listening to me right now to just don't easily give up. Don't give up that seed that God has planted in your heart. In fact, be consistent with doing what He's calling you to do and remain steadfast and committed along the way, knowing that whatever He's brought you through, He will let it come to pass. Just be steadfast and be faithful and committed to the journey. Don't also doubt His faithfulness and His goodness towards you, because He's a good God. He's faithful and He wants His children to thrive so that we can be a testimony and a blessing to others in this life. So the only thing that you need to do on your journey of purpose is to just stay the course. Trust God, trust the time, trust the plans and the seasons of life that He takes you through. Also, when doubt, discouragement, and the constant feeling of giving up or even quitting comes along, ask the Lord to help you through those times, and He will help you to do what it is He's calling you to do, because He's faithful. He wants to see you succeed. For me, my encouragement has come in many ways and has helped me to stay the course, especially when I'm tired or it may become mundane doing the same thing over and over again, or even when I don't think there's no evidence. I don't see the evidence of the fruit right away, right? But He will send persons. He'll send persons to tell me that my message has touched their hearts or encouraged them to go after their dreams, or it has even motivated them to get out of those bad situations that they were in before and to go into a purpose, a plan, and a path that God has for them. So with just that one message, it has given me more fuel to keep pushing through, to send more messages like these out to the world and to encourage many others to just not give up, to stay the course, to be committed and faithful in what God has placed on your heart, and to just keep going and not give up no matter what's happening. So if this doesn't encourage you to just step out, stop doubting God, stop staying stuck in situations and places that you know He's already calling you to get out of and move into that place, move into position, move into where He's calling you to do, then I may have not done a good job to encourage you enough. But I will continue to keep speaking these truths until one day it will eventually get you going and to be on the path and the plans that God has for you. So I pray that my truth about my life will ultimately set you free on your purpose-driven journey. So thank you all once again for tuning in to another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. If you haven't gotten any copies of my books, A Balanced Life, Moving from a Dysfunctional Life into a More Purposeful One, or I Am Who God Says I Am, always be inspired to live the life God has planned for you. It goes through the journey of my own life, my struggles and everything that I face to actually be where God is calling me to be right now. It also goes through a life that I had previously that was dysfunctional. It wasn't working the way God had planned for me, and to move into a more purposeful one. And now seeing the fruit of the life and the calling and the gifts that God has given me to also help others to move on your journey of purpose and destiny. So the link for both books, as always, is in the description box below. And until next time, please go after your dreams. Go after what God is calling you to do. Don't stay stuck. Don't stay stagnant. Just keep going and be consistent. And once you're consistent with the life and the plans that God has for you, then you will see the fruit of your labor later on. Thank you. And tune in for another episode next time. Bye.